Hi, my name is Brian Ward. I'm coming at you live from Clovis, California. This is for EDUC 703. It's awesome here. We are in our last week of the course. I'm here to talk about Horace Mann, his philosophy and role in the development of the common school. Horace Mann ushered in the modern era. Um, he was a beneficiary of many American political idealists such as Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, and Benjamin Franklin. Hunt 2002 added that other educational theorists such as Daniel Webster and Benjamin Rush also contribute to Mann's ideals. It's interesting that Horace Mann was born the year the Constitution was ratified. The new country was in its infancy, and no true educational system existed for the new country to achieve its goals. Americans were insisting that they wanted to be taught and educated by Americans and not through European traditions. Many poor and immigrant children did not attend school at all. And one of the reasons why Horace Mann became an educational philosopher and began the movement was because he himself came from a poor family and did not feel like he was educated properly. Schools that did exist at the time were called common schools or charity schools, and they were poorly funded and poorly run. There were not enough qualified teachers. Most successful schools were run by religious organizations, and they were either Catholic or Protestant. Horace Mann was the leader of the educational movement in the first half of the 19th century. Although Mann was a successful politician, he gave up those aspirations for his educational ideas. Horace Mann intended to make his mark in the world by giving Massachusetts students the educational opportunities and standards that he had not received in his youth. Kendall 1968 stated that Mann's most poignant argument was that the future of America was directly linked to the educational systems that needed to be developed. Hunt 2002 claimed that Mann had an impossible dream. Mann believed that all children had a right to an education, and Mann is known for his concept of the common school. Mann believed in the existence of the common school and that it was ordained by Providence, and said this ideal was founded by natural law. Hunt 2002. Education, then, beyond all other devices of human origin, is the great equalizer of the conditions of men, the balance wheel of the social machinery. That's Mann's quote. In addition, educating children would afford them all an opportunity to learn social and civic norms that would make them successful in society. Mann exclaimed that the common schools would serve to teach all children, and that by doing so, it would reduce programs and problems of immigrants, and that learning American culture and values would alleviate sectarian strife as well. Mann believed that the United States should be a shining city on a hill, and that schools should educate the students to be principled men who would rise above sectarian and political biases. And he felt that schools could perform civic, political, and cultural roles in a nonpartisan manner. And although Mann sought to reduce sectarianism in schools, he did not argue to separate church from state. He stated that the teacher's job, a sacred office, the immortal temple of the Spirit, that schools should cultivate the values of all Christians. To achieve his goals, Mann recognized the need for strong teacher development programs. At that time, most teachers were clergy or they were inexperienced and they did not have standards-based curriculum or any norms to speak of. And following a model that he learned from France, they instituted what were called normal schools, which were two-year institutions where teachers would learn how to become teachers and develop the curriculum for students. Later on, that became four-year institutions, and later on, that led to what we know today as our teacher credential programs and preparatory programs. Mann was instrumental in the development of all of those programs. In addition, Mann served a significant role working with Kathleen Beecher and to bring young female single women into teacher roles. At that time, there's a teacher shortage, and he acknowledged that that women could come in and do that role and provide a significant service to the youth of that time. To conclude this presentation, Mann is largely responsible for the school systems that exist today. Every citizen and even our non-citizens have a right to a quality education. And education has indeed become an equalizer, the balance wheel for our culture. In addition, educators today continue to teach and develop the moral fiber of our students. Rigorous teacher programs exist and standardized curriculum across the country is used predominantly. Female educators and administrators are now in the majority. From a comparative sense, one might say that American schools are the shining light on the hill that other systems can model after. However, if Mann were alive today, he might realize there's some troubling signals out there. First, the religious pendulum has switched to the other side now, and religion has totally been removed from school. This has led many families to make a difficult choice. Should they return to a Christian charter school style format? Also, higher poverty levels and increased crime and lack of moral character and values have begun to divide school and school districts across the country. More and more schools are going back to the haves and the have-nots. The most qualified teachers are taking flight to wealthier school districts, and that is increasing the learning gaps for our poor students. Politicians and judges are making decisions on sexual, health, and gender issues in curriculum that run counter to Christian worldviews, and that may continue to divide our population. Mann's ideal is to compromise and make strategic decisions that would allow all students to learn and live together in an environment that would develop morally and academically successful students is now at risk. America may need another Horace Mann to come back and bring back the ideals for a common school movement.